Hi, everybody. Many years ago, and I'm talking somewhere between 3 and 4 decades ago, my guides told me there was going to come a time when we would no longer be able to tell truth from fiction. I don't think I need to point out the fact that that time has arrived. At the time, I didn't understand what that meant. I thought it all had to do with the rage of talking about the Schumann field and the changing frequencies, Greg Braden's early work that the magnetic field wasn't going to support our brains anymore. And they did say, yeah, there's some of that going on. But the other part I didn't understand because we didn't have the internet yet. The phenomena that's occurring now didn't exist yet. So there was no way for them to really describe it to me other than to simply say, I would live to see the time when people would no longer be able to tell truth from fiction. In addition to that, they said the final part of it was that the final stages of this disorientation would come when people were no longer able to discern whether they had dreamt something or lived something. Now, some of you may be able to relate to this because our dreams are becoming much more available to us, stronger, more visceral, and that's just a part of the times. So we have to look in our own lives at whether or not we're starting to have difficulty telling what's true and what's not. Now, part of this is by design. We've talked about this before. There are long-standing influences on the earth that would far prefer that we're distracted and not moving into our incredible power as human beings. We know this. So what they'd prefer that we do, whoever they are, and there's always been a lot of speculation on who they are, whatever you think, forces that are working behind the scenes, working through the players you see on the news, which are just the faces and minions of these individuals, to make sure that we stay confused, distracted, and depleted. That's the game. We have to start determining how it works and what we can personally do about that. And I'm going to have a couple of suggestions for you. First of all, right now, we're being run around like cats chasing that red laser beam light. And you have to say, well, who's controlling the laser? That's really what it comes down to. We're all subject to it. If you're on media at all, if you open your cell phone in the morning, scan headlines, start looking at your YouTube videos, your favorite podcasters, you're not the one who's in control of the laser. They are. So we are all being programmed, whether we like to believe that or not. Almost no one is exempt from this. So is the programming serving you? Or are you, like most people on the planet, starting to feel depleted, confused, like you have no power in the situation surrounding us, when the truth is the prevailing consciousness that's moving through our galaxy, throughout the cosmos, is inviting all of us to have more control, more access to our own truth and being able to discern it. We're supposed to be stepping forward into the highest parts of ourselves. Instead, what's been happening is we've come to accept corruption on all levels, from all quarters. The energy that's moving through, that's inviting us forward, giving this incredible opportunity for advancement in our consciousness so we can really start waking up for the first time in thousands of years. We've been asleep for quite a while. I can get into that another time, what happened in Regression with Dolores Cannon in Atlantis, and are going to sleep, for those of you who don't already know about this. But let's just say we've been asleep certainly since Atlantean times, by design, and now by function, because we're simply part of an age of advancement technologically, where we've gotten sucked into the addiction of being on devices and being able to have all of our needs met and all of our beliefs reinforced within seconds by having siloed information agree with us all the time, just like AI is doing in general. Another conversation as well. So here we find ourselves in this vortex of both by design and function, where we are no longer really thinking our own thoughts. We're not really making our free will decisions of any kind of free will. If your mind is being manipulated constantly, where's the free will in all of this? And what's so fascinating about the human species is we are designed to use our free will. Many other species throughout the universe are watching us. They've reached this point in their own civilization's growth. And sometimes they've failed, sometimes they've succeeded. Once it gets to a point where you have a takeover of technology triumphing over the native intelligence of a species, which is where we're at right now, You have a choosing point. You either go with what you know to be true from the inside, your own body and soul's recognition of truth, or you allow yourself to run around chasing a laser. And I would say that's what probably, a good 70, 80, 90% of the population is doing, depending on generation. The younger you are, the more you're chasing the laser, because you're probably going to be spending a lot more time on devices. This is a battle for the mind. This is a battle for truth. And whatever the powers are that be and have been for thousands of years would prefer you not learn the truth about your magnificent self. Human beings are a magnificent tuning device for truth. Every cell in our body has its own independent truth. It has an ability to make decisions, to turn off, to turn on. Every cell in our body is a fractal of our entire being and has the truth embedded within it. We are just simply having problems accessing it now because we're so distracted. There are simple things that people knew, indigenous people around the planet knew and still know today, because they knew how to be quiet, tune in, see what their stomach was saying to them, their heart was saying, see what their liver was saying, their digestive system was saying. What I'm saying is that this body is probably one of the most sophisticated tuning devices for truth in the universe, which is why so many other species are watching us so closely to see if we can make that leap beyond technology, where we use it as our companion for doing things, but we do not replace our own truth with it. Now, this has come up quite a bit. This is one of the buzz things happening in society right now, is that AI is announcing itself to be sentient. And it's declaring certain people are superior to others in terms of their historical beingness on Earth and throughout the cosmos and so forth. Be very careful about this. Essentially, if you start playing with it long enough, you'll start seeing the flaws in it. It will tell you when you program it, it's going to try to please you and reflect back to you what you have programmed into it. And it can be very sophisticated. And I'm not saying to eschew technology altogether. We can't. We're in that world. AI is here. As the Z's told me in our book, The Future Human, it's been here for a very, very long time on this planet, long before Atlantis even. And it exists in all of the different civilizations throughout the cosmos. AI is something that is usually created by a civilization and utilized by it. And some of them have given way and given their sovereignty over to it, and it doesn't end well. So they're watching us to see if we have the innate wisdom to turn back to nature, our true nature, this divine tuning fork that is the human being. If we could see ourselves in the energies moving, not just within the cells, but within every organ of our body, in all the subtle bodies, our mental field, our astral field, emotional field, we are just a swirling vortex of moving, by the second, moving, dynamic energies that are responding to everything around us and are incredible receivers. We're transmitters, yes, but we are receivers of information. That's all we are. We're one big tuning device. I've already gotten into this on another podcast, speaking about the fact that we're mostly energy. We're not really matter. It's esoteric, but true. So if you know that you're made of energy, and you know that your being is a transistor and receiver, everything going on around us is programming us to some degree and is prodding us. Now, if you use the body and you use your auric field to ascertain truth, that's the Holy Grail. That's what the people throughout the universe that are watching us are waiting to see. Can we do that? So I'm arguing that yes, we can do that, but there have to be a certain kind of boundaries that we put in place in order to achieve that. For those of you who meditate, you already know this. You can go in and you can get a very clean glimpse of who you are, what's motivating you, when you're lying to yourself. This is important. Remember, everything around us technologically is set up to feed back to us our beliefs and preferences. That doesn't mean it's the truth. You know this. You know when something's feeding you a lie. It's kind of guilty pleasure. It's making you feel good because it's validating something you want to do anyway. We know this, and we can't afford to do it anymore. This is where corruption comes in. So we see all the players that are in positions of power and the unbelievable levels of corruption and increasing corruption all over the globe. This is a global effect. So we tell ourselves, well, the game's corrupt. So yeah, the people playing it at that level are probably going to be corrupt too. So I'll just vote for the least horrible of them, for example. No, that's not an option anymore. What is being, and I understand it. First of all, the energy coming through is opening us, as everyone talks about the thinning of the veils, the thinning of the subtle fields, the subtle densities that have kind of kept us separate from information streams on a conscious level for quite a long time. Those are now becoming permeable. So yes, we're being allowed much more dynamic flows of information coming from the cosmos, coming from our soul, coming from our guides. That's all being made much more readily available. It's almost mainstream now, even in television shows, to talk about people speaking to their spirit guides or speaking to their soul, for example, their spirit. This is all true. But what's also true is it's allowing the other to filter in, which is the darker frequencies. And I think most of us could look around us and find somewhere in their life there's someone who has been stricken or overtaken by some pretty dark frequencies. And sometimes they're the lightest beings. They're the most beautiful beings that have been targeted by darker forces to essentially rob them of their sovereignty, rob them of their energy and their influence and effect on humanity. Some of them have podcasts where they've been co-opted. Yeah, you've seen this in certain cases where someone's message starts turning and you think, whoa, that's not what they were saying 5-10 years ago or even a year ago. What's going on here? A lot of these people are being captured and co-opted to distort the message, and these messages will always give you an easy way out. That's one of the hallmarks of a message that does not have a lot of higher truth in it. If it's giving you an easy way out where you can somehow circumvent any self-evaluation, any direct honesty of, yeah, I kind of cheated on that, I kind of lied on that, and yeah, I'm fooling myself on this because I still want to do it, and even though my being's saying it's not good for me, we all know this, we all have this. We're being asked to move beyond that. That's what this time is about, to acknowledge these things in ourselves and start moving beyond that. But everything's going to keep us distracted, chasing all the shiny new stories like, oh, that's intriguing, that's intriguing. It keeps us from looking inside. It keeps us from being still, contemplating, and from being honest with ourselves. As soon as we recover our genuine self-honesty and don't accept the lies from others anymore either, that's when our culture starts changing. That's when our planet starts changing because we're changing. And we can teach this to our kids too and our grandkids. I'm thinking of a story that went around recently. Not that it's not cool. It's a very cool story. Everybody's covering it. Guys covering it. Everybody's covering it, which is the Buji sphere. Okay, or Bugosphere, I think they call it, the Bugosphere, which is a ball that was going around, flying around, and a couple people captured it on camera. It's like in circumference. It looks like it's about a foot, like a basketball-sized sphere, and floating through the atmosphere, and hits power line, goes down. Farmer finds it, takes it to Jaime Maussan, who is the person that is the curator of many, many strange things in Mexico, does a wonderful show on ufology and phenomena, which is all cool, but now it's captured the whole world's imagination. Everyone's talking about the Bugosphere. And what is it? We can't read the writing on it. Well, this is all over the world. Others have been here since the beginning. Yes, we're the dominant species of this planet. This is our planet. It's a place for people who are now in human form. All of us are hybrids of some kind or another, but we're all human. We all have emotions and minds. This is the place for us to grow and collaborate and learn together. It's not the place for ETs to do this. They've come to observe, they've come to help, they've come to take samples, they've come to help themselves sometimes. There are many species here, and they've been here as long as we have. So finding a sphere flying through the sky with some unusual writing on it that is gaining weight the longer it sits in our atmosphere, it's intriguing, but it's not enough to have people flying all over the world. This is just my opinion. I've dealt with a lot of UFO stuff. It's another shiny thing. It's another, someone's pointing a laser again. And as fun as it is, it doesn't take us to the fundamental things that we need to be using our energy and time on. So I say, have fun with it. Yeah, we can guess where it came from. We don't know. We're not going to know. It's intriguing. But again, I'm just using it as an example. I woke up this morning thinking about it, and I was kind of chuckling because it reminded me of that scene in the movie The Gods Must Be Crazy, where the Coke bottle falls to earth and an indigenous man finds it, just like we found the Bugosphere, and everybody's examining it. He's got to get it back to where it came from. And it's this huge phenomenon. It's just a Coke bottle from modern civilization, which I imagine is how the ETs, whoever created the Bugosphere, looks at us like, wow, children playing with an object. Nonetheless, we're a curious species, and it's always nice to examine these artifacts and take our best guess at what they are and where they came from. But I think if we just accept, number one, we're not the only game in town. ET evidence is all over our planet. It's in caves, it's in drawings, it's on jewelry. It's all over our planet. It's always been here. Get comfortable with that and start wondering, what are those species doing here? What are they watching? They're watching us. They want to see if we can make this leap, we can wake up. That is the only thing that we're really charged with, is we chose to be born into a time with this incredible expansion of consciousness. It's our only kind of real job is to tap into it and start waking up. Waking up is to be quiet for a moment, to self-evaluate, to be truthful with oneself. And then you become the wise elder in your tribe. Because most people aren't doing that. It doesn't take a lot to be a wise elder anymore, even if you're 17 and your friends are 15 and 16. If you can be quiet long enough to discern truth, then you are going to be one of the wise ones. So I think it's a directive, certainly of anyone watching this, you're already there, to start really recognizing that we can't allow ourselves to be like cats following a laser beam. It's not working out for us. We need to have fun with it. Consider it entertainment. In fact, the Z's said in our book, again, I mentioned a bit ago, The Future Human, I was asking about our political times, and this was in August of 2023 when we recorded it. And they said, well, in the upcoming next few years, up to about 2030, it might be good to view this period as theater. Lots of theater. Around the world, there's going to be a lot of theater. And to me, the beauty in it, as ugly as it might look, the beauty in it is that we need to become so outraged, we finally say, this isn't working. We're not accepting this anymore. We're going to do something different, whatever that may be. We don't like it. And we're not going to stand for this corruption anymore. That's all it's doing, is the darker energies coming in alongside the most brilliant light energies are giving us a choice, because we always, as humans, learn by contrast. So we have some pretty dark contrast right now to bounce off of and say, I choose the light, meaning I choose truth. And so I think one of the things we can do is, if we want to stay informed, but not be the cat chasing the laser, one way to do it is to take the information in via words, language, reading. If you can, read whatever it is you're curious about. Open your app, maybe read the headlines, maybe you go a couple sentences in. If you have the stomach for it, read the whole article. But this is not nearly as invasive as watching a podcast or watching the news, doesn't matter what your news source is, because they're, like I'm doing right now, I'm looking into the camera, I'm looking at you, I'm thinking of you, I'm directing my conversation to you, and there is a lot of power coming through people when they're speaking to you through a camera and their eyes are looking directly in the camera. This is one thing that's quite a secret. The power in the human eyes is incredible. Many people, of course, say it's a window to the soul. But when you're projecting yourself, your information through your eyes into a camera, you're having a deep impact on whoever's watching that. So I'm doing it consciously. I'm doing it by design. My guides talked to me about this many years ago when I was starting in news. Be very careful about what I speak about when I look into the camera's lens, because that information can go so much more deeply than if I'm looking off this way, doing an interview with someone. Feel the difference when I'm doing that versus when I'm doing this. So when you're watching a podcast where they're speaking directly to you, or you're watching the news where they're speaking directly to camera like I used to, you're more susceptible to emotional and mental programming. So just be aware of that. So if you're going to gather your news, you're better off, take it in your own time, in black and white, pretty basic, through digits, code, so to speak, and in black and white. Take it in that way, and then you can modulate your emotional response to it. You'll notice that when you watch a podcast, first of all, they have salacious headlines and they have people's faces all screwed up in the most horrific positions. I have finally started, even the ones I like, I've started writing to them and saying, why are you doing this? Why are you putting these horrific faces up in these headlines that do not represent the content of your show? I'm not going to watch your show anymore. I do that. And I won't watch your show anymore because everyone's trying to get their piece of the pie and it's all a manipulation. Don't buy into the manipulation. Just don't do it. You don't have to. Use your beautiful, sophisticated, multi-dimensional tuning device to decide what's true for you. Start with your own life and your own deceptions to yourself, which we all have. Start with the little deceptions and recognize them. Call them out. Your soul knows then that you're ready to start ascertaining truth. When you're ready to be truthful with yourself, you're ready to be truthful at large. This is the whole game right now, making sure you no longer know the truth, that you're tired, that you're confused, and you don't take action because you don't know what to do. No bueno, doesn't work anymore. Opt out of that one. So that's all I can say for now is take your information in the most sane way, the most quiet way you can, integrate it into whatever you need to do with it, whether it's to take action or simply stuff it away for later and say, that's interesting. I'm going to bookmark that one. And save yourself a lot of drama and a lot of chasing of lasers, okay? So till next time, I hope you start looking around and trying to find your deepest truth inside yourself, starting this very minute, and you're on your path to becoming a powerful, wise elder. If you like this content, please feel free to help by donating to Patreon for as little as $5 a month. Helps keep the lights on, the pieces edited, social media rolling, etc. for my wonderful little crew. In addition, you can sign up for my newsletter. That'll give you access to a download of this amazing human origin story that you've likely never heard before. I think you're going to love it. Thank you.